guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
Proud of our guys. We found a way to win. It wasn't a pretty game. And this is, it's four back-to-backs. It's damn near irresponsible, but real proud of the guys finding a way. Shorthanded tonight.
I love Finchy throwing the schedule rip in there. Amazing. What do I need to do to get back on the show here now that it's officially the Declan and Judd show? Is there like a reinitiation process, or what needs to happen?
You know what? Actually, no. Free pass, because when you are the CEO of Vikings Twitter, you can do whatever you want.
That's right. True.
And people are fighting it. Why are they fighting what's done?
Well,
why are they fighting this, Phil?
The CEO of Vikings Twitter believes in servant leadership. He doesn't believe in leading with a heavy hand. And so, he doesn't. He'd rather not bring the hammer down. But just be careful resisting your Minnesota Vikings Twitter CEO. Okay, and for the crowd that maybe didn't see it over the weekend, we are filling C-level cabinet positions here, and Declan Goff has earned the CBO title, the clickbait officer of Vikings Twitter. So, congratulations, Declan. We have a CEO, we have a CBO, and we've had some fairly productive discussions with Judd Zulgad, but ultimately, in the end, Vikings Twitter will do its best for Vikings Twitter, and Judd will do its best for Judd. That's what we're being told.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here today.
You just work here?
You never really know what tomorrow holds, right? So, we're just trying to do the best that we possibly can. I'm just happy. I'm just very happy.
Yeah, don't worry about a succession plan
I'm very
yet.
pleased. Yep, exactly
and
right.
Judd's older than Phil.
Don't get a replacement.
So.
I don't want a person behind me in waiting, but I also don't want to provide you with any assurances of how long I'm going to be here. So that's the plan.
The problem is they're saying that the intern class for C-level suite members, like the youngsters, it seems like a weak class, but we'll have to see. I don't know.
I've heard there's some. I've heard there's one or two just sort of like hidden gems, but I
earned that BS degree from St. Cloud State. That Bachelor of Science is hanging right in my bathroom. I earned this CBO title.
But you're old now. He's talking. Phil is talking about the incoming class.
This is true.
Yeah, I'm talking about Malik
real
Willis.
Concerns.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Statements on a Monday here. We will get to our buffoon of the week, and we will get to Declan has had it with the Wild, so we'll get to a Wild pie chart of blame at some point here. But, boys, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 15-point favorites tonight. I get that they're playing a very depleted and mostly terrible Portland Trailblazers team, but they are 15-point favorites tonight as they look to keep pace with the Denver Nuggets and the Dallas Mavericks, who also keep winning. The Wolves have won 7 of 10, and they're trying to creep up out of that play-in game, but the Nuggets and the Mavericks have both won 8 of 10, so it makes it tough. But here's my statement for you guys. So Karl-Anthony Towns is having just an incredible start to the second half of the season here after winning the three-point contest. That game against Portland the other night, he goes for 36, 15, and 5 with a small handful of blocks. So here's my statement. Karl-Anthony Towns, don't look now, is one of the 10 best players in the National Basketball Association. And I have data to back it up for you guys. You can tell me if this is too hot takey, but he's one of only 5 players in the league this season averaging at least 24 points and 9 rebounds. The rest of those guys are Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, and Luka. Not bad company to be in. He's 8th in win shares, which is, I would say it's probably the best all-encompassing one-stop shop metric for how good are you offensively, defensively, are you healthy and available, which I think should be considered here. If you miss 20 games, then it's tough to say that you're one of the best players in the NBA. Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't miss games. 8th in win shares, just ahead of Steph Curry and Jason Tatum. And he's 5th in terms of offense efficiency. He's 5th in effective field goal percentage among qualified players who've taken at least 10 shots per game. Maybe it's hot takey. I think the way that he has played all season and the way that he's ramped up his game during this important stretch where they really need to make some hay and win games, and they are, I think he's one of the 10 best players in the NBA. 10 to 12? Somewhere in there? Is it a hot take?
I think it's incredible. No. In fact, my statement was, it's clicking for Cat because he is right now.
Alliteration coming.
He's got it clicking. Since he got back, especially from being victorious in the 3-point contest, he's playing with confidence. It feels like in the last 2 months, and he hasn't perfected this yet, but it feels like in that time he has toned down the in-game rhetoric towards the officials. Like he's sort of, I don't know if Finchie got to him or what, but sort of, peeled that back just a bit. And so it's not this constant complaining and moaning and whining about non-calls. He still gets upset. But the way that he is going right now, this feels like, and this has not been the case consistently, this is his team. Like, it's been times where it's been like, I think it's shifting to Ant's team. And hell, we've talked about that. And there have been times where we have bemoaned the fact that this club does not get more from Cat. But I got to tell you, in the last month or month plus, it has felt like Cat's team. And that's what you want. Like, he should be. Phil, it not only is not a hot take what you said, but in my opinion, it's what you should expect. He's good enough.
He also, this is what, year 6 or 7 for him? And he spent the first handful of years in the NBA. But I guess I'll preface this by saying some of the stuff that has kept him from maximizing his own potential and the team's potential is self-inflicted stuff. Like, there's some immaturity issues. So I'm not saying that this is all like external, but the first 5 or 6 years of his career, right? The guy that drafted him and believed in him passes away tragically. Then they bring in browbeating Tom Thibodeau, who I know the Knicks won last night, but once again, like, this is the third franchise that Tom Thibodeau is about to ride into the ground and get fired. And he sort of derailed an early important portion of Karl-Anthony Towns' career and development. Also broke up a young nucleus to try and jump up in the Western Conference for just a quick sip of coffee in the playoffs, and then boom, they're starting over again. He has the stuff with family and COVID.
Yep.
When they did make the playoffs with Jimmy Butler a few years ago, he didn't play well. He was accused of just sort of hiding in the corner. I mean, the inside the NBA guys were just clowning him on national television, right? So he's, I think he's finally getting the validation across the league. And I know it's just a 3-point contest, but it was a national event. It's all of his peers. He's got all of the top players. It's the NBA 75th anniversary. So in and around that whole weekend, there's all these top players from the history of the NBA, and he comes out victorious as one of the greatest big men shooters of all time. He's getting praise from Shaq. So it just kind of feels like he's finally getting the respect and validation, not that he's always deserved, but that he's earned through playing really well the last few years.
It feels like, too, and I mean, to the things that you just went through, Phil, he's been through a ton. It feels like he is growing up as well. And look, I mean, in the most tasteful way possible to say this, when his mom died, who he was incredibly close to, there's one of two ways to go. You, just collapse, or you grow up. And it feels like he has taken that now and has taken a step that makes him a different person than he probably was with Tibbs here or Butler here, right? Like, he's more in control. He's more of an adult, probably. And that's part of the problem. He went to Kentucky for a year. He was still a kid. He came out. Like, his parents were at all the games. And he's a great player. But there's probably a maturity at that age and with those life experiences that you don't have at that time, right? That you learn from. And so I give him a lot of credit because I think his mom passing was a huge, devastating loss. And it seems like he has now taken that and channeled that into really becoming a much more mature, probably person as well, but player for sure.
All right, my Wolvie statement after watching this putrid Wild team over the last few weeks, which I'll get into later. But my statement on these Wolves is very simple. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. Over the last 16 games, the Wolves are 12-4, and they've beaten up on some bad teams, right? They've beaten up on OKC, Portland. They beat the Kings a few weeks back, but they've also hung with some good teams. They beat Memphis. They beat Golden State. They beat a depleted Cavs team, but regardless, you still should win that game. Anthony Edwards has missed time, right? They're their next superstar. They're their next Batman in waiting here, and they still find other guys to step up. My main guy, Jaden McDaniels, getting more minutes because of that. finding his three-point stroke. D'Angelo Russell, a player that I think all three of us were kind of out on about 6-8 months ago, saying, nice player, but maybe not someone that's going to build around, but has now taken his game to the next level on the court, off the court. Defensively, he's been amazing. Our Karl-Anthony Towns point that you guys made, I think he's putting together really his best all-around season, which honestly is impressive to say, right? He's in his 6th, 7th NBA season now, and he's really putting everything together. And Chris Finch, I think, honestly deserves Coach of the Year consideration for what he's been able to do to this roster. And maybe it's because this franchise has mostly been inept for the majority of the last 20 years. But he has literally maximized so much from everything on this roster, from Vanderbilt to McDaniels, Naz Reid. Obviously, is key in the development of Anthony Edwards, key in the development of D'Angelo Russell and Cat, too. So good on the Wolves. This is what you're supposed to do. Beat up on those bad teams and also see growth from your entire roster.
Also, it's going to be really interesting. So right now, let's say they get in as the 7 seed, however it works out with the play-in. They would play the 2 seed, and right now the Warriors and the Grizzlies are tied for the 2 seed. I think they could give the Grizzlies a legitimate run. I know they just beat the Warriors with no
Right.
Draymond Green.
No Clay.
Clay didn't play in that game. Clay hasn't been playing very well anyways. And
Yeah.
Steph even openly talked about his conditioning not being there the other night. But I legitimately think if they play the Warriors at full strength, it's going to be really tough. But I think they could go 6 or 7 games with Memphis. So that would be gravy. I mean, the goal right now is get in, just be back to being a playoff team for the first time in a long time. But don't sleep on a potential run. They right now are averaging the most points of any team in the NBA per game, 114.3 points per game. And when they want, they can put the clamps down on defense. So I don't know. I don't think they're beating the Suns or the Warriors in a 7-gamer, but they're interesting. And I don't think teams are like raising their hand to match up with the Timberwolves.
Next 3 games, Portland, 25-38 tonight. OKC on Wednesday, 20-44. And then a road game, Orlando. I believe the worst team in the Eastern Conference, 16-49. So you got a chance to continue to make some hay in the next 3 at least as well.
Dude, who was it? The Pelicans last night blew like a 10 or 11 point lead with 3 minutes to go. The Nuggets came back, forced overtime, and then won. It's like, it's catch a break.
Joker, man. Jokic, baby.
It's ridiculous. I know he's good. He's pretty good. Although the Wolves put a beating on Denver a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right, another Wolves one for you. So this is just sort of random. It doesn't really apply to anything in the last couple games, but Tom Haberstroh, I think he's at Meadowlark with Lebitard now. He does the Basketball Illuminati podcast. And he came out with some incredible research that does validate what a lot of Timberwolves fans think, which is, and here's my statement, the Timberwolves legitimately get screwed by NBA refs. Did you guys see this?
I saw this, yeah.
So he went and did a dive into which teams receive the best referees over the course of time. And he found, and his research was, based on the best refs as they're graded, and then which refs wind up as NBA Finals refs. And he found that the teams that get the best officials are the Warriors and the Lakers. So even though the Lakers aren't a very good team, the league is clearly assigning the best officials to the games with the highest profile teams. Mm-hmm. And the Timberwolves are in the bottom 5 of that list. It gets even worse when you go further. Total years of referee experience on games. The Wolves are 3rd from the bottom. The top 2 teams are the Lakers and Celtics. So they get the least experienced refs, or among the 3 teams that get the least experienced refs.
Yep.
And then total games with a finals referee from last year. So the best of the best referees, how many games this season have they played with a finals referee? The fewest in the NBA. So
come on,
they're just getting
Ed
assigned
Malloy
like
all
the
the time.
worst refs in the NBA.
Why are you bashing Ed Malloy? He's like a
Hasn't
regular. He
Malloy's done
flies
some-
with the Wolves.
Malloy's done some finals
He's done
games
some
in the past,
finals
hasn't he?
games, and I don't know how he
Been
does.
around forever.
I don't know how that man gets finals games. Who he's got pictures of, Adam Silver or something.
It's ridiculous. So if you think the Wolves get bad referees, it's not just your brain playing tricks on you. They definitely get worse referees than. And by the way, the Lakers are number 1 on that list, and
But
the
you know
Clippers
what?
are number 2.
Guess what?
Chicago, Golden State are 3 and 4. Big markets.
They've-
Boston.
They've deserved it. Like, get good. Get good.
I agree with that.
That's going to change.
But isn't it? Do you think it's weird? And I guess now that I say it makes sense. The games that are nationally televised, you don't want crappy rookie officials on ABC on a Sunday night. So I get that. Like TNT on a Thursday night, you want your best refs out there.
You know what? Get good. And if Cat continues to track like Cat is going right now, he's going to start to get calls. Mm-hmm. Like the logic of this is not hard. You're getting screwed because you've sucked for so long.
It's true.
And if you don't suck, guess what? The league is going to say, hey, we're going to put you on national TV more, and you're not going to get as much Ed Malloy.
So what Judd's saying is if you're a Timberwolves fan, just chill out. Maybe put on some Chill Boys underwear. The most comfortable underwear that the three of us have ever worn. Give me one word to describe how Chill Boys are making you feel today.
Fabuloso.
Thankful.
I'm feeling fabuloso.
Fabuloso.
Yes. Down there because it's so damn comfortable.
I'm going to say cool, calm, collected. I know it's 3 words, but
now you just
cool, calm, collected. No, Chill Boys is a Minnesota-based company. Chill Boys is a Minnesota-based company, but you can find them online. They care about one thing, and that is your comfort down there. Chillboys.com. All right, so they get screwed by that.
All right, if it may please the crowd, I'm going to switch to a National Football League statement.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we're right in the heart of it here. Next week, the league year, free agency.
We're
post
9 days away.
Now.
We're 9 days away.
And really, we're 7 days away from the legal tampering period.
The tampering
period started with cocktails in Indianapolis at the Combine last week.
God, I love the legal tampering period. It's so great. Okay, here's my statement. My statement is very simple on this Monday. He's back. Despite his promise that this would not be a long and drawn-out process, Aaron Rodgers still hasn't told the Packers if he is going to sign. He supposedly, according to ESPN this morning, has a massive multi-year contract that will take him well into his 40s on the table from the Packers. So it's sitting right there to be like, hey, take this. He has not told them, I will take it. He has not said, I'm gone. He continues to his teenage ways of dragging out a story that he basically controls. I mean, to call a spade, the organization has given the keys of the Packer car to him. And he's like, I don't know if I want to drive it or not. And they're like, dude, we're giving you the keys to the Packer car. And the last point is, this is gumming up the entire quarterback rotation, possibly, right? Like, he's the first guy, because the Broncos, obviously, for the second consecutive offseason, want Aaron Rodgers. But they don't know yet. And so they can't, let's say, call a team in the Vikings division to say, you know what, he ain't coming here, so let's talk about your guy, Kirk. The point is, Aaron Rodgers is back to his pain-in-the-ass ways.
Okay, so it's so interesting. Giving him a long-term extension into his, let's say, early or mid-40s is kind of a genius play by the Packers because it gives you the ability to pull that cap number down in 2022 and 2023, right, and kick it further into the future. So like the longer term the contract, like Pat Mahomes with that 10-year contract in Kansas City, the more flexibility you have as a franchise to manipulate the cap hits. So I think I'm just trying to put myself in Rodgers' shoes. Besides just like wanting attention and loving to create drama, what is the value in waiting? You know, what is
creating drama? Yeah, no, I think you're right.
But there's got to be some other strategic purpose. Or do you think he's legitimately still undecided about what he wants to do?
Yes, but I think he likes the uncertainty. I think he sits down at the end of each long A-Raj day and writes, Dear Diary, today I talked to Goody and the Packers again, and I just don't know what to do. I don't know what they want. I am so confused. Please, somebody give me guidance. I think that's what he does. I mean, literally, he is a teenager. He told everybody, this isn't going to be like last year. It's not. Everybody thought by now.
Well, it's not last year. He waited until August to make up his mind.
Dude,
he will make up his mind in March this time. So he's right.
Make up your bleeping mind. Just tell us what you want or don't want. If you want out, tell them. But
okay,
you got the contract right there.
Who gets the crown for being more indecisive and dramatic in the offseason? Is it far from 15 years ago, or has Aaron Rodgers eclipsed him at this point?
Well, they're both divas, so that's hard to say.
I think it might be Rodgers, man.
Yeah,
Rodgers
I like
seems
him
more
less.
manipulative. Favre seems legitimately every year, 15 years ago, just
Brett was
indecisive and.
I
Brett
liked
seems
Brett
so
more.
burnt out every year, and then he realized once the grass started to smell like fall,
Right.
and okay, that's my football bat signal.
Right.
I'll come in. I just
liked-
don't want to go to training camp, so call me on August 20th, right?
Brett annoyed me, but I liked him more. Here's my problem with Rodgers. What's the likable thing about him? Like Brett had
His touchdown to interception ratio.
No, but I mean off
His
the field.
13
Brett,
wins every year.
Brett was the shucks guy. I don't know, pieces are in place, and he was manipulative as hell. But Aaron just drives me crazy.
Yeah,
But let's get the quarterback carousel going, man. Can we please get it going?
I think all these teams probably have a plan B, C in place, but if he goes back, which I think he will at this point, I think he's going to go back.
I agree.
If he goes back, Russell Wilson's still out there. We're going to talk about him on Purple Daily today because there's a sports betting website that has him as the odds-on favorite to replace Kirk Cousins, which is fascinating. But, Kirk moves up the ladder, right? I mean, there's going to be 8 or 9 quarterback-needy teams. The Panthers need a quarterback. The Steelers need a quarterback. The Broncos are probably the number 1 team that's been out there. And when options come off the board, it makes Kirk more valuable in a potential trade. And I can't stop thinking about Kwesi's background when it comes to treating every player as a commodity worth some sort of value, right? And if the options are, I can pay the 13th, 14th best quarterback $40 million a year per his agent's contract demands, or I can leverage 3 quarterback-needy teams against each other and get multiple draft picks and find, I don't know, a replacement that's 75% as good and 25% as expensive. The more this plays out, the more I'm doubling down on I think they trade Kirk Cousins.
And
I just turned an Aaron Rodgers talker into a Kirk Cousins talker because I am the CEO of Vikings Twitter.
And you have that, and here's the crazy thing: you have that right, and nobody can stop you now, and it just drives people crazy. And on Twitter, they're lashing out.
The board can turn on you. I mean, that happens.
Yeah, you gotta be careful there.
It's hard though. I mean, that's going to take a lot, and I'm on the fringe. Like I just work here. I don't really care. But yeah, what this league needs right now, make no mistake, is an Aaron Rodgers plunger. He's clogging up the system. We need to plunge him out. And then once we do, you can flush the Cousinses
in there
and
too,
the Wilsons.
spray it out,
I don't want a bidet.
Nice and
Now, this
clean.
is the National Football League, Declan Goff. I got bad news. Does not deal in bidets. It's a meat and potatoes league, baby. That's what. But we need a plunger for A-Rod.
We're back to Declan here.
All right, I have a football statement. Well, and it's a non-Kirk Cousins statement. Do you guys want a non-Kirk Cousins Vikings related
Phil's
statement?
gonna torture it back
I would
into
prefer
anyway.
everything to relate to Kirk.
Does the board?
All right, how about this? You throw this out, and I will relate it back to Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he
You got
okay.
it. Okay. All right. My statement is very simple. Go get the beef. Go get the beef. NFL free agency. Tampering period's next week. Free agency's coming up too in a couple weeks. I want to share a name with you guys to keep an eye on. Lincolnton Tomlinson of the San Francisco 49ers, offensive guard. One of the best in football. PFF grade of over 75 last season. Jeremy Fowler, in his free agency and trade buzz piece, which I just love. Basically, he just should have named that reckless speculation on ESPN.com. I don't know
It's
why
great.
he didn't do that.
I love that article.
Reckless speculation.
He said this on Tomlinson under his free agents to under the radar to keep an eye on type of move when free agency opens. He says, Tomlinson is emerging as a top guard available and could spark a bidding war close to free agency. The Bengals, Panthers, Steelers, Jets, Seahawks, and Vikings are among teams that will
Half
be
the league is half the
in
league.
the guard market.
Half the league.
Tomlinson, a big PFF grade. Also, if you're sick of Holy Hudo, as I believe Pulford Skull called him,
Holy Udo and Holy
Holy
Hudo.
Hudo, 1,100 snaps last season and just 8 penalties. 4 of them were holding.
Yeah,
So he's one of the best guards in the NFL.
Yeah, real good player.
So if you want him, go get him.
According to Pro Football Focus, Laken Tomlinson, who is, I would say the age is an interesting thing here because I don't know that the Vikings are totally ready to compete for a Super Bowl this year, even if they add a guy like Lincolnton Tomlinson.
Yep.
He's 30. There are like 3 or 4 other interesting guards that are more like, first contract guys, 25 or 26 years old. But he's projected to sign a 3-year, like $30-ish million a year contract. So he would be cheaper than Brandon Scherf. But like Declan said, zone heavy scheme, Kyle Shanahan. There's a lot of ties to what Kevin O'Connell is likely to run. So interesting.
I think Brandon Scherf signs here. That's what I think.
Oh, is that just your?
I think the steam that
Are
Phil
people DMing
had,
you now too? I literally got
steam,
5 DMs from friends and family saying he wants to play in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So
his two top options, I believe that you told us at the time, Phil, were the Vikings and Chiefs. And the Chiefs,
Yes.
The Chiefs line is in great shape right now, I believe. I think he's going to sign a contract here that is not cheap, but is probably very reasonable. I think Brandon Scherf is your starting right guard next season.
yeah. I have one more Vikings one for you guys here real quick. And you may have
Kirk
touched on
Cousins
this.
stinks. That's the
The
statement.
Vikings
Okay,
should trade
thanks.
Kirk Cousins, and here's why. I've never talked about this before. So I think Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, when it comes to game management, they get it. They hired a guy last week named Ryan Cordell as a game management coach. Did you guys talk about this on Purple
Daily. Yes, we did, because it's a great move.
Having somebody standing next to Kevin O'Connell all throughout the game, or however it works, in his headset, right? I want you to think about timeout management, clock management, game flow management, all of those sort of end game strategy points that Mike Zimmer was mostly awful at. And Kirk Cousins, not the greatest at either. And you had 2 guys that were kind of like, I don't want to call timeouts, you call timeouts. I don't want to do it. So I think having someone in the lead up to games and during games helping to organize everyone's thoughts on, okay, here's how you conserve your timeouts. Here's what, let's not challenge a play, 5 minutes into the first quarter, or let's not challenge a spot on a, when it's, well, if we can challenge the spot, then it'll be 3rd and 1 instead of a first down. Well, like game theory is so important.
And I'm
the
mad,
Vikings
so
have
here's
ignored
the
that
flag.
for so long. Exactly.
Right? I'm mad. I'm throwing the flag. You idiot.
Dude, like the Vikings lose all these close games and people just chalk it up to like, well, look how unlucky they are.
I
It is
know.
not unlucky to lose close games in the NFL, especially when it adds up over multiple years.
In fact, you know what? I'm going to make a statement off that. Just came to mind.
Wow. So many statements. Great.
To quote the great Bob Dylan, the Vikings, they are a-changin'. And here's how. Did you see in the press release of the Cordell hire, they specifically said, or on their site, they specifically said he is here to help at the end of halves. Like, that is the most aggressive shot that a team can possibly take.
No,
like
it's true. Yeah.
It's true. And then I saw it, I believe it was today or at some point during the weekend, Vikings.com did a mailbag, and one of the lead headlines on this was something along the lines of the future of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
I saw that this morning.
So,
Yeah.
they're
the
address,
mailbag is sneaking
you know
some
what that
stuff
is?
out there.
And you know what that is? That's a massage to the Cousins Crusaders of sit down, calm down for a second. But we need to talk. When the
Okay,
team,
do you think it's that strategic?
Yes. In fact, I can tell you right now.
Oh boy.
I can tell.
Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
I can tell. No. I can tell you flat out.
Are you reporting?
The strategy. No, I'm going to give you the background, the history of Vikings.com. Vikings.com. Back in the day, I believe it was when the former chief in charge was there, who's now gone. He used to do a daily link to here's what the Star Tribune is saying. Like he didn't
Campfire music.
He didn't regurgitate it.
Story time.
No. He just basically threw out, here's a link to the Pioneer Press. Here's a link to the Star Tribune. Blah, blah, blah. Rick Spielman called that young man in and said, you will never do this again. We are not going to be putting out anything on our site that might be deemed controversial from elsewhere. We are not
So
touching
basically,
that.
if outside parties are
weighing in,
either have opinions or are reporting on things, then that
Don't
is
want
not
them.
our. We do not disseminate that. We
Correct.
disseminate the information that we want to disseminate.
That is absolutely correct. So, going off that, And Kwesi's not a dumb guy. I mean, this guy's very, very smart. I guarantee you he will be strategic and in a positive way, manipulative of what he wants, which he should be, right?
Did anyone read the mailbag? I saw the headline. I have not
yet.
Yeah, okay.
I have not clicked on it, but the fact that they put that headline out there is a definitely interesting thing for that website.
Okay, hold on a second. I just want to find this. I got a Monday
I read like the first couple paragraphs, but then
okay, here we go. Monday morning mailbag examining all. So this is from the Vikings team website.
Yes, Vikings.com.
Examining all Vikings options with Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
Will Kirk Cousins remain in Minnesota? From Darla. She throws that question out.
Yep.
Darla has asked the $1 million question. It's one that dozens and dozens of Vikings fans have sent me in recent weeks. It's not very many. I mean, more people need to be sending Kirk Cousins questions to Vikings.com. Only a couple
Gabe,
dozen.
use the word hundreds. Use the word hundreds. I don't care if it's real, Gabe. Use that word. Hundreds sounds better than
this
dozens.
is not Gabe. This is Eric Smith, who's also on the Vikings.com staff. Let's see here. First, okay, so he's saying everyone wants to know what the team will do. It's likely best to exercise some patience here, too. The league year doesn't begin until March 16th, and we'll get some clarity around then. Answers might not come this week, and that's okay, too. Then he quotes Adolfo Menza. Let's get why but here it is. With that, let's get into why the Vikings would consider letting Cousins simply play out the final season of his contract.
I'm telling you, but this is interesting.
Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but
no, don't do that.
I'm just saying. So
I'm just telling you, it's
wait, here's another one. Oh my God. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Perhaps Cousins has been held back by a more conservative approach in recent years and is ready to flourish in O'Connell's system. So that's one theory for keeping him. I don't know. This whole thing's really long, but they're definitely fleshing this out. So go to Vikings.com for the insights.
It's interesting that the team website is delving into what we deem to be at least semi-reckless speculation.
Real quick before Declan cuts open another vein on the Minnesota Wild. So if you guys remember about a month ago, 15-year-old Deshaun Hill Jr. was just senselessly and tragically shot and killed in the North Minneapolis area. And he was the backstory is he's just, by all accounts, a standout family member and athlete. He was an honor roll student. His friends and family describe him as an amazing son, brother, and friend who touched the lives of everyone he met with his infectious smile and humble personality. So Minneapolis North has set up a fund that aims to raise scholarship money for the North class of 2024, which is Deshaun's class. And we want to get behind this at SKOR North, Mackey and Judd, and Purple Daily. So the goal here is, listen, this is senseless, this is tragic. If we can raise some money and help grow awareness for this fund that gives some other kids a chance to get a head start, just have a better chance for success in life, then let's raise some money for that cause. And so you can go to scorenorth.com and type in the keyword Hill, scorenorth.com keyword Hill, if you want to donate. I mean, any amount of money is better than nothing. You can also find the link on my Twitter page, just at Phil Mackey. I tweeted it out last night. So we'll be hearing more throughout the week on the Mackey and Judd podcast, just about his backstory and the cause here, and what we can do to help as a community in and around the Twin Cities. So scorenorth.com keyword Hill. All right, boys, let's do it here.